Navdeep. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I am the hiring manager at Sandstone Healthcare Group here in Utah, and I'll be interviewing you for this position. Is it okay if I ask you for some questions?
Yes.
Okay. What is your leadership style, and can you give a few examples of this in action?
My leadership style is democratic, so I like to get everyone's opinions of what we're working on. I like to take their concerns into account before we actually agree on a common goal. I like to make sure that the solution is beneficial for everyone in the group instead of just one person.
Thank you. Next question. Tell me a time when you faced conflict or disagreed with a coworker or leader.
A time that I faced conflict with a coworker was actually at my current place of work. We had a nurses meeting, and since I work knock shift, it was a couple of hours before I got off of work, and I was supposed to be back at work that same night. So we had a little bit of a conflict, a little bit of a disagreement, but through communication and basically just talking to the director of nursing, we were able to reach a date that worked for all of the nurses.
Thank you. Next question. Tell me a time when you faced with a problem and how you successfully solved it.
A time that I faced a problem was actually when I was in my BSN program. Since it was an online program, I was actually having some difficulty understanding the directions of a project, and since it was the weekend, I couldn't really contact any of the faculty, so I relied on my peers to give me advice and directions, and it actually worked out pretty well for me.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Tell me a time you faced a staffing shortage, either from your leadership or employee situation. What were your actions related to being understaffed?
A time that I faced a staffing shortage was at my current place of work. Someone had called off 10 minutes before the shift began, and it was actually for night shift, so we were having a hard time getting people to come in. So what had happened was that I had the PM shift, an employee from PM shift stay over, and then we had an employee from AM shift come in a couple of hours early, so we were able to have coverage throughout the whole night.
Okay, thank you so much. Next question. What is your strategy to retain employees and maintain more on a unit? And how do you offer feedback to employees?
So my strategy for that is actually to maintain communication with the employees on the unit. I like for them to know that the admin is there for them. And I also like for them to have direct communication with all of the admin. Just checking in with them on a daily basis has proven to be really helpful for me as well.
Thank you. Next question. Give an example of how you embrace cultural differences and diversity in your team.
A time that I embraced cultural differences was, I live in a very diverse town with people from different ethnic backgrounds. So what we do is, in order to make everyone feel included, we do a potluck in which the employees are able to bring in different meals from their culture, and it helps everyone feel as if they fit in, and it helps everyone feel special in a way.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How would you approach a underperforming employee?
Well, my first step to approaching an underperforming employee would be to ask them if they need any assistance or if they need any help just working in the unit, and if they're facing any difficulties, if there are any barriers that are preventing them from completing tasks. And I would also see if they need further training as well.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How would you approach a angry client?
Well, usually when a client is angry, I have seen that they typically feel that their needs aren't being met. So I would definitely take the time to talk to this client on a personal level and see what I can do to make them feel as if they're being taken care of properly, and basically just communicate them to find out if they're facing any personal issues.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. How do you commit to a professional development and provide an example for me?
So I commit to a professional development by, if I'm being hired at a new job, I want to make sure that I have all the correct resources. I want to make sure that I am able to contact whoever is my supervisor to make sure that I have the correct assistance, especially when I need help. If I'm stuck on something, I like to make sure that I can rely on them. An example of this was when I got my first job as an LVN. Since it was my first nursing job, I was new in the field, and I really did not have any experience in the medical field at all prior to that. So I heavily relied on my supervisor, who was able to guide me through the job. And after a couple months, I really picked up, and I was able to perform everything by myself.
All right, great. Okay, last question, we're almost done. What would you do if you were presented with a process improvement project with the ambitious directions?
So in that situation, I would definitely, before I begin on the project, I would definitely reach out to my boss or whoever passed on the project to me, to make sure that I have a clear understanding of the directions, just to make sure that I perform the project correctly.
All right, thank you so much. And that will be concluding our interview.
Okay, thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
You too.